the layout. This was the original layout, and that is the layout that I'm using these scraps from. So those were all the scraps I had from my Rare and Beautiful sketch inspired layout. And then I'm taking those scraps and using them to create another layout. And this way I really just obliterate my stash. Like there's little bits and pieces in here that I could put back into my stash, but I just find it's a lot harder to use it up. I already kind of have papers and ephemera, etc., that coordinate. So to me, it seems to make the most sense to have it all together and put it on a layout while it's all out, instead of putting everything away, starting another layout, and then, kind of repiecing what I feel coordinates and goes together. So, this was kind of like a new concept for me. I kind of clicked in my head. I think near the end of last year, I was recognizing that I had all these little bits and pieces that were kind of irksome to me to have to put away. And so it made more sense to me to start to try to use them on layouts. Also, what I usually try to do on these layouts as well, and this is, like a 50-50 thing, it's my goal, is I'm trying to incorporate more mixed media on my sketch scrap layouts, because usually I'm using smaller pieces of paper, so I don't have like huge patterns of paper stealing the show. And so I feel like there's more space in my backgrounds to allow mixed media to shine. That's just my personal opinion. I was in Florida for most of the 2021 year. I came back into Canada in the 1st of May, and currently I'm in quarantine. And one thing I thought I had is I thought I had more of my mixed media kind of stash and supplies in a certain storage area, but I couldn't find them because I wanted to bring back more of that to Canada with me so I could play around even more with my mixed media. So right now I will say that I'm not super limited. I have a couple watercolor trays from I think Prima maybe and Jane Davenport. And then I have a lot of shimmers, like spray bottles and the little jars that you add water to. I have a lot of those, but beyond that, I kind of don't have too much besides like gesso and, I'm forgetting the name of the medium that you use that gives the thick texture. I'm blanking on it. It's going to bother me. I apologize for any noise you might hear as I go walk to see what it's called. Okay, my light molding paste. So, all that to say is that I'm really trying to embrace using more of my mixed media. I know I have more paints and other mediums in storage somewhere, but until then, I'm learning how to use what I have. And I'm really enjoying this. I love adding the bits and pieces of paper. You can see that a lot of these papers I'm using have had punches in them. I've used dies in them, but as long as you use the paper properly and you only show what you want to show, you can really stretch your stash. So even though I took like bows out of some of these, I could still add some of that paper behind my photos and create interest and really use up every bit and bob. So that's kind of my goal, is when I'm creating a layout, I want to have, if I'm creating a layout inspired by a sketch, I'm trying to keep out the scraps and then using those as sketch scrap layouts. I am going to be honest, some of my kind of creative goals were a little bit roadblocked when I came. So see, here I am trying to play around with mixed media. When I came to Florida, at first it was good. I had a fairly decent setup. It wasn't optimal for filming, but it worked. And then like my mom, one of my sisters and one of my brothers got COVID. My grandmother had some serious significant health diagnoses. Thankfully, she is cancer-free right now, but we did not know that. She went through two procedures and one significant surgery. And so there was just a lot going on. And then I wasn't able to use like my original filming setup because of COVID and I had to leave. So things got a little hectic and crazy, and I apologize for not being able to keep up with my video schedule on YouTube and posting on Facebook, etc. Now that I am back home and more in my routine, I apologize if you hear the squeaky toy. That would be the puppy. And I'm back in my routine, I plan on getting back. So what you can see here is you saw that I only have the mixed media behind the behind where I can actually see it. So there's a bunch of white space behind all the pattern papers and where the photo's going to go, because in my mind, I don't feel the need to waste my mixed media. What I usually will do is kind of use a pencil or something to draw where I want the mixed media to be seen. That's just kind of what I've been trying to do. And am I really ever going to use up my mixed media? Probably not. So this is probably something that you don't need to do. But for some reason, it's just like I like doing it that way. I like doing a little sketch to emphasize where I want to have the mixed media show up. And you can also notice I tried to place my mixed media so like if there was blue pattern paper, I tried not to have the blue mixed media right behind that part of the pattern paper. I tried to kind of mix up the colors so that they were a contrast to the pattern paper instead of blending into the pattern paper. I wasn't going for like a monochromatic look. So here I'm just going through some of my stash and putting some bits and bobbles down. If you've watched a lot of my videos, you know, my theory on this is that if I take it out, I really do try to use it up. I find that hoarding or holding on to it, nothing is gained from it. And usually if I pick it up, there's a reason and it kind of does go with it. So I might as well just use it. I've had a couple layouts that I made that I'm not like in love with because of that method, but all in all, I have way more layouts that I love because I did this method, and I feel good because the reason I buy this stuff is because I think it's pretty and it's cute and I want to see it on layouts. So if I just keep it in a 4x6 iris container, or if I just keep it in a 12x12 iris container or a Ziploc baggie to store it, I don't get to actually appreciate it. And so I'm really trying to appreciate it. You guys all know I cannot stand having to use things like, I don't know if these would be called thickers, but when you have to individually put the letters on, I feel like they never stick well enough for me, and I always end up having to add glue. Anyhow, all that to say is I'm tying off this layout. I really loved how it came together, and as you can see, I didn't know what photo I was going to use. I knew I wanted to use these scraps up, so what I did is I cut a piece of white paper to the size that my photo would be, with a little bit of trim left. That way, when I knew what paper I wanted to, or what photo I wanted to use, I could just add it on there. This is something I don't do that often. I am starting to do it a bit more just because I know I have so many photos. I just got a new phone while we were in the States, and the gentleman was like, he's asking me how much storage I need, and I was like, I don't know. He goes, well, like, how many photos do you have? And I think I have like, I don't know, maybe 15,000 photos. I can't verify that right now without like messing up the voiceover, but he was like, oh yeah, you need a lot of storage. Anyway, here's my layout. You saw I picked a photo from celebrating my 30th birthday in the height of quarantine. Those little ribbon bow dies are from Catherine Pooler, and I am obsessed with them. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and let me know your thoughts on using up your scraps.